Hello, everybody, and welcome. The chat is open, and we are here. We've got an exciting show, a little bit of housekeeping to take care of tonight. I've got a couple special co-hosts tonight with me. My co-host Brenda is out sick tonight, so we're thanking her and hoping she gets well soon. So I'm sure she'll drop back in if y'all want to leave her comments in the chat, and I'll relay them as well. We also tonight we have a special guest. She's been on our show, or my show, before. She's one of my favorites. It's Sonya from East Tennessee, and she has all kinds of cool stories to tell about her property. But let's get in the other co-hosts here. I got Mr. Bobby Diesel. How are you, Bobby? And then some strange guy here I don't really know, Harry Marbles. So
Bigfoot has arrived.
I didn't see the option to change my name.
Well, okay. Well, we'll just call you whatever. So
Just click settings, you can do it.
All right.
Well, gentlemen, I'm going to bring Miss Sonya in, and I'm going to bring our screen somehow around so that we're all in here together. There we are. And welcome, Sonya. Sonya, I introduced you, but go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you're shy, so
sometimes I don't know. It depends on who I'm around right now. I'm Sonya. I'm living in East Tennessee, and I have a pretty interesting property or piece of property up here that has some pretty cool activity. We have Sasquatch activity. We have the Wampus cat up here, and we have a lot of UFO activity, along with portals and other things. So, yeah.
Wow.
I don't.
Wampus cat.
What's the most recent activity?
Well, I mean, the Sasquatches are here year round, so I can't really say like there's any more activity than usual because they're out here every night, every other night. If it gets really hot, I've noticed they have been going up in the mountains, if it's raining a lot or if it's storming a lot or if it's really hot, they go up in the mountains. But besides that, yeah, there's been a lot of UFO activity, but I don't know if it's any more or less than usual. So got the Wampus cat, which the Wampus cat, the more I think about it and the more I've been like studying upon it and talking to other people, I'm not sure that it's not a dog man. But I've seen a dog man out here too, but it was in a couple counties over, but it looked like a werewolf, right? So, but when I saw the Wampus cat, she looked like a cat. So I don't know if they're two different creatures and maybe one's male, one's female, because the one I saw that's here, the Wampus cat, she was definitely female. Yeah, so, and the dog man was definitely a boy. So I don't know. I don't know. Yeah.
I'll tell you what's
also,
funny. Taxidermists used to make Wampus cats out of the rear end of a deer. They would take it and flip that tail up and make it like it's a beard with him.
Yeah, I've seen them do taxidermy, like bad taxidermy, online, and they do like Sasquatch faces and stuff, and it's just like, oh, well, some of them are not that bad, really. If you want to have a deer spot hole on your wall, that is.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Well, Bobby's from Alabama, so he can't help it. So. So, when was the last time you saw a dog man? And well, I guess I got a 2-part question for you. The dog man usually is not the friendliest of the creatures out there. So,
well, it ran out in front of us in a car, and there was like 4 of us in the car, and it ran out in front of us in the road. And I immediately stopped and I said, "Oh my God, it's a werewolf!" And everybody you could just hear their breath like leave their body.
Sure.
And everybody was like, "Go, go, go!" And I was like, "What? I'm not going to try to mow it over." Yeah, that's how you make something mad. And they were just like, "Go, go, go!" And I was in shock. I was like, "No, I've never seen one of those before. Like, it was a werewolf." But it took 2 steps and it was gone back out the other side of the road. It stood there for a minute, and that's why I know it was a boy. But it was like what I would describe, and at the time I don't know if I really ever thought a dog man, or if I just thought maybe people were seeing Sasquatch thinking it was like a dog. I wasn't sure until I saw one myself. So when I seen it, I knew it wasn't a Sasquatch because I've been around them for years. But I guess you don't immediately think dog man, you think werewolf, because that's what that was. I mean, that's what it looked like. It looked just like a werewolf. And but with the Wampus cat, she looks like a cat in the face. She looks like one of those Mancoon cats, or like or like a lion almost in the face, because they kind of have like she kind of has like that lion face with that dog snout, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
But like she looks more like a cat than she did a dog, and she was very feminine. She had like long hair, big green eyes. She looked like her hair was so fine. It looked like she was wearing a leotard. That's how fine her body hair was. But she had long hair, and it came down, and she had 2 breasts, and it went on down to a very dainty, very human-like body, like if a woman was wearing a leotard. And then her legs went down just like normal, like women's legs. But then her feet went down into like a weird like ankle. And the ankle turned into a paw. So it had like a human ankle with like a cat's paw at the end, which was because when I seen her, she was sitting down on her butt, and I was feeding the pigs one night is what happened. And I had a friend with me, and I told my friend, I was like, you want to be able to navigate your way around here at the farm without a flashlight. Because if you turn like a flashlight on, everything's going to know where you are at that point. And so we were talking about that, and we got out to the barn, and I was like stirring the pig bucket, and I had a crappy flashlight, and she had my good flashlight. And we had kept, like, all week long, we had been hearing stuff for like a couple weeks. Like, I would hear chattering, like it sounded like kids or like teenage girls chattering in the woods. And then I would hear whistles. I mean, all kinds of just different stuff. And it wasn't normal activity, because the Bigfoots, I mean, when they're out here, they don't really mess with me that much. I mean, we communicate, but we don't they don't come up to the house and scratch on the windows and stuff. This thing was doing that, and like whistling into the window, like chattering into the windows at night. It was weird. And this has been going on for a couple weeks, and I knew there was something out there, and I knew it wasn't Bigfoot. I knew. And so like we went to feed the pigs, and I was stirring the pig bucket, and I was dumping the pig bucket, and you could hear the chattering around us. It sounded like it was like all around us. It was weird, because the way this thing moves, I know Bigfoot moves quick, and he can cloak and he can disappear, but this thing moves so fast that you couldn't, even if it ran in front of you, you wouldn't be able to catch you might be able to catch a glimpse of it, but you couldn't see her straight on. And it was like she was cloaking as she would go around you. It was weird. But we were sitting there and we were feeding the pig, and you could hear the chattering around you. And I was pouring the pig bucket in, and my friend, she's got the good flashlight, and she's shining it in the woods where we're hearing the noise. And everything was fine. We were out there for like 30 minutes. Everything was cool. And just all of a sudden, my friend turned her flashlight off, and she got behind me. And she's like, "Are you ready to go?" And I was like, "What?" And she's like, "Are you ready to go? Can we go?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm almost done." I was like, "Are you okay?" And she was like, she was like, "I just want to go. I want to sit down. I need to sit down right now." And I was like, "Are you feeling okay?" And she was like, "No, I'm not feeling okay. I need to sit down." And I said, "Do you hear that noise?" And she was like, "Yeah, can we please go?" And I was like, "Yeah, let me see your flashlight real quick." And she chucked the good flashlight at me. And I caught it, and I had the crappy flashlight and the good flashlight. And I turned around, I spun around, and where I was hearing the noise at, like I shined the flashlight on it, and she was sitting on her butt, just just happy as can be. My dogs were out there with me. They were running around her with no problem. She didn't bother them at all. They weren't scared of her. Um, but she was just sitting there, and I was like, "What the f is that?" And my friend didn't say anything, and she like nothing. And I was like, "Courtney, what is that? Do you see that?" She's like, "Yeah, I see it." And I was like, "Well, what is it? What describe to me right now what you're seeing?" And she said, "I can't." I said, "I need you to describe to me what we're seeing here." And she was just silent. She wouldn't say nothing. She was just like, "I don't know what it is, but it's been standing over there for about 10 minutes." And I was like, "Wait a minute, what?" From the
Sounds
moment
like
she
it's a
had
whole
turned
lot
the
of shit in my pants. That's what it sounds like.
from the moment she turned the flashlight off and come behind me to stand, and I hadn't even finished dumping the pig bucket. There was a few moments there where, like, she was just quiet and like, "Can we go? Can we please go? Are you done?
You,
Can we go?"
you
And
think she
that
didn't
whole
believe
time,
this
that
herself?
thing had been sitting there. She didn't say a word, and I was just like, when we got back to the house, because I stood out there, and just we stared at each other for like 5-10 minutes, and um, she petted one of my dogs, or pet one of my dogs. Um, which was funny too because when I didn't see her anymore on the property, when she kind of took off, my dog went missing. That same dog that she was petting, he went missing for 2 weeks. So I can only theorize that like he followed her into the woods across the mountain, when she left. She's been back a couple times since, but um, you'll know when she comes back because again, it's the weird chattering and the whistling and just like it just I don't know. You just know. I
Did
don't know how
this
to
one have
describe it.
these 6 legs like the legend?
No, she only had 2 legs, she had
Just
2
like a
arms,
person?
she stood up. Yeah, and she was like I said, she was sitting on her butt with her feet out, from her with her ankles crossed. That's why I got such a good view of her legs and ankles, because the way she was sitting. And I had been finding, because I put some pictures on I have a page, like, I put some pictures up, and one of the footprints, and I keep going back to thinking that footprint that I have, because it's a small footprint, it's only about, like, 11 inches, 12 inches. But I think it's the Wampus cat because the front of the foot looks like a cat paw, but the back of the ankle looks like an ankle. So it's easy to mistake it for like a small Sasquatch or juvenile Sasquatch, foot. But I had been finding these like what looked like bear tracks because I could only theorize that they were bear because I've seen big cat tracks and I've seen, Sasquatch and I've seen other things, bobcats and things, but I'd never seen a bear, and we'd had a lot of bear activity, in the last few years, and I thought it was a bear, but then after I saw her, I knew exactly what it was because bears will walk and they'll scratch and dig and stuff, so it sometimes they'll give the impression of what looks like an ankle,
Mhm.
but but like it took me like when we got back to the house, my friend wouldn't talk. She wouldn't tell anybody like what she's seen. She wouldn't speak to me. She told me to stop talking about it. She needed a minute. And I was like, I forget that people are traumatized. I wasn't because I guess because I know Bigfoot's out there and there's other things out there. And I knew that, but I was just intrigued. It took me 2 days to process in my mind just to get on my phone and just look up cat-like creatures in Tennessee. Like it was that simple. That's all I had to do. And I found the legend of the Wampus cat. And I mean, there's all kinds of legends. A lot of them have been whitewashed, but I found a bunch of like old stories that these people had described to a T what I had seen. I mean, to a T, the whistling, the chattering, I mean, the noises it made to exactly what it looked like. And the way it moved, like I said, it would move so fast. Like, um, you could catch a glimpse of her tail and that would be it. You could feel her come by you. You could feel the wind off of her as she came by you, but you could never catch a glimpse of her. And you could feel her around you. And it was I never had anything like get that close to me like that or let me, but I mean, the Sasquatch just let me pretty close, but never where I could have reached out and touched her had I done it, if I had been so just, like I said, I wasn't really scared because 2 nights after the first time we seen her, even before, like, I think it was the same night that I looked up what, the Wampus cat, or found the legend of it. My sister's boyfriend come up here and he was like, hey, will you come with me? I think there's coon hunters in the woods. And I was like, okay, why do you think that? He goes, because I can hear people talking. I said, do you hear whistling? He was like, yeah. How did you know that? He said, was it you? And I was like, no, it's not me. I said, but I told him what I'd seen, right? And I think he thought I was crazy at the time, but he was like, let's go find out. And I was like, okay. So I went back into the woods with him because I wasn't scared. She didn't harm my dogs, she didn't. She'd been around. If she had wanted me, she could have got me at any time. So there was no need to have any kind of fear of her at that time,
It's basically a bipedal lion at this point.
Right? Like, she'd been watching me for a couple weeks. I mean, if she'd wanted me, she could have had me at any time. Me standing over there going, what was that?
I was going to make a sandbox joke, but I'm not going to.
Yes, make them.
Like, you have a sandbox.
Yeah. No, I'd get my squirt gun out, my super soaker. Yeah. Bad kitty. I think if I caught the Wampus cat like pooping in my sandbox, I'm going to live it.
I was thinking that, but Jeff, you've got anything else over there, and you haven't found just piles of Bigfoot scat. I don't think the Wampus cat's going to be any better.
We have between me and my sister, because my sister lives in a house next door. We share this property, and we have like 11 dogs between us. There's no telling. I think the Sasquatch would probably just come down here and poop in the yard with the dogs, because we'd never be able to, like, she's got a couple Great Pyrenees, that are out there, and they leave, landmines everywhere. So nobody would be able to tell.
Do the dogs not raise hell?
No. So the dogs, like I said, the Wampus cat didn't bother my dogs. Now my dogs they're so used to Sasquatch, like when he's out there, when the family's out there, that they have this weird breathing thing that they do. Like they'll start barking, or they'll go to bark, and then they'll breathe in real hard and realize what they're smelling, and then they'll completely stop and they'll go into the woods not barking. And that's another reason how you can tell it's them.
I had a Pyrenees, and they're big on protecting the flock. So if that Pyrenees are doing anything, then I would say it's definitely not violent.
Well, the Wampus cat wasn't violent. I mean, she had, like I said, she had a chance to get me. She's come back a few times since then, and this was, I would say, 2020, and she's come back a few times since. I think 2022 was the last time, the beginning of it. She was around for a couple weeks. So, but I haven't seen her since. But it's still, like, when I did see her, it was the beginning of spring, and then we seen her in the fall once, or that she was around in the fall once. And then the first time she came was like at the end of March, beginning of April. Yeah, so, or the middle of March, beginning of April. Yeah, so it's wild. Like, but I'm a firm believer that there's portals out here, or this property, is because we have the water, we have the mountains, we have just certain things out here, and the energy.
You should have some trail cams too. Set some trail cams up. Let's get famous.
We have. Let me tell you about those. So we've set trail cams up. With the Wampus cat, like, if you wanted to catch a picture of her, you couldn't. She moves so fast, you might get a blur. You might get one picture that didn't take, because when she was around that summer, or that winter, that fall, excuse me, we had trail cams up then, mostly because we had started growing hemp, and we had coon hunters come out here and take a couple of the hemp plants right out of our yard, like we're idiots. But anyway, so we had these trail cams.
Don't you get any ideas, Glenn? It wasn't me, man.
It's okay. They didn't get the good stuff, so it doesn't matter. But like you would get pictures that were just a blur. Like it would have the color would be right on it or whatever, but they would just be pictures. It would just be like something ran past it, and all it was a blur. Or you might get when we first put them out with the Sasquatches, I had a picture of one of them's finger, which you really couldn't tell what it was. I knew what it was, but they would move the trail cams and point them towards the sky, or they would completely take them down and just pile them up next to the like I had left trash in the woods. I've done that before. I had a party one night and we left a bunch of cans in the woods. I was going to go back and get them the next day, but they had piled them up at the edge of the woods. They did the same thing with some of my trail cams. And the trail cams didn't, they were completely dead when I got them back. 2 of them never worked again, which, yeah.
They'll do
disappointing. Yeah. Yeah, so there's no need in wasting money on trail cams.
Have you found any white fingerprints embedded on any plastic or anything? Like powder coat, like the trail cams, and they grab hold of and break them?
Up until, okay, so I guess I spend so much time in the woods with these things. I don't think to look for stuff like that up until recently. As far as like I know they're out there. Like I go out there and vibe with them all the time, so I know they're out there. So I don't look for stuff like that. Yeah. But I mean, there's been a couple of times when they've shook the cars before with us sitting in them. Just be like sitting outside somewhere in the dark, with our friends or whatever. You know how you sit out in your car and hang out, and they've come up and shook the car before, and we've had handprints on the cars before. But at the time, I guess I guess you would say I was kind of ignorant to the fact that I could have been like keeping those. I know more about that now, but like I could be making casts all the time of the footprints I find, but I just haven't. I'm lazy.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think you probably get better rapport with them if you don't do all that.
Yeah, well, I tend to agree.
Well, I have been asking for permission for stuff. And people ask me why I don't take pictures. Well, it'd be pretty rude to run up in somebody's house and just start filming their family, So we're in this energy shift. Like the whole world's in this energy shift right now, and it's a good time to, for the world to know that they're there. They don't want to have to live in the shadows forever.
Dude, really not fair. Here we go. I thought of this today. Sorry to interrupt you there. Lynn knows my mind's like a pinball. When it hits the button, it has to light up, or you lose points and no tickets. You don't get your spider ring.
Yeah, but, cut me off. I was over talking.
Do they know that they're a cryptid and that we're fascinated by them, or do they just think that?
Oh yeah, they do. They know how the human evolution of the human race is that we're still no further in evolution than we ever were. We can't go wrong with each other. We can't even stop fighting each other long enough. So they still know that that we have not leveled up high enough for them to want to come out of the shadows and be there. But
now we're trying. Bombs.
Yeah.
I just wonder if they know that we have like shows and this kind of thing dedicated to them. And
I think they do. I think that they know that they have families. I truly believe that they know what's in your heart, because I could have come out and told people about this 20 years ago, but the time wasn't right. They chose the time for me. Yeah, and they definitely, like I said, they chose the time for me. Like I definitely went out and asked for permission and went out and had conversations with them, because I know people think that it's crazy to sit and to have conversations with them, but you can talk to them. I'm a psychic. I can read people's minds. I can read people. I can read auras. I can hear the little stories in people's heads that play. That's just their life story. And it's almost the same with them. You can communicate with them the same way. And I don't know. I've learned to do that in the last couple of years, and it's been an amazing experience since then. Like I've had where I've sat down with the family there's females. The females are the dominant ones in the group. They are the head. They run everything. Like you have a dominant male who protects the family, but the female runs the family. She runs the show, and it's usually an older female. And that's who runs the family up here. I call her the old mother. Her name's Inna. Like I asked her name and everything. So, but her name's Inna, which actually means old mother. Which is funny because that's why I called her old mother all the time. And I was like, and I told everybody, they was like, why do you call her that? And I was like, I don't know. I just feel that's who she is. And when I found her name, it was actually Inna, which is old mother. That's what it means. And it was really cool. But she makes the decision. She decides whether she lets the family see or lets you see the family or you get to interact with them. It's all her decision. And when I finally went out and like had moments, like with her and after, like what's basically like what's the point of knowing you're out here, like, and I'm not here to protect you because I know you don't need my protection, you don't need anything from me, so what do you want me to do? And it's just, do what I'm doing, and just help people understand there are other people out there that are having these experiences that think they're crazy. And I know I'm not the only one. There's, especially women, they're really, I think that's why there's so many women out there that have these, experiences where they have these families that come out and, try to communicate, or they, I don't know, they seem like they have more of a bond with, a lot of women.
Mm-hmm. But that's why the Sasquatchers do such a good job.
Yeah, and it's because the mothers run. It's because the old mother or one of the older females in the tribe or the clan run the show, so it's easier for her to to communicate like that. And so once I found out all this stuff and I started learning these things, like I was sitting in the woods and I was having this moment, and I went out and I took them a bunch of apples and I took them like a whole bunch of fruit, and I was sitting there with it and I was eating an apple because you want to share one with them. So I was like eating half of it, then leave the other half and leave the other apples. And she appeared in front of me. She come in front of me, like it was like where the sun was going down and it was dusk. It was almost like where you couldn't see in the woods. But I don't use a flashlight out here much, so, and I don't take my gun. Like I don't really fear too much out here. And so I was sitting out there, and she come in front of me, and we had this moment. Like I could hear her, I could feel her, and she sat there with her eyes. They do this eye shine thing, where their eyes will illuminate. And she has white eye shine. Her eye shine's white. All of them have different color eye shine, and hers is white. And she came up through the woods and just sat there with her eyes were glowing, and she sat there, and me and her had this like moment, and I was just bawling. I couldn't help it. I was just crying because I could hear her. I could hear her in my head, and that had never happened before. And I sat down, and then like the whole family came out and surrounded me, and all of them, they had their eyes, and their eyes were all shining. And I never had like a moment like I talked about it, I started crying, but I never had something like that happen where it was just so like, where you would have to think like, I know I've seen like certain things with people around. All my friends that have ever come up here, they've had experiences with, they've had rocks thrown at them, they've had them mock them, just things, little small things like that, things where they knew it had to be a Bigfoot because, I don't have enough friends out here to be like waiting in the woods for me to bring people out there. They know how slow and distracted I am. It would take 3 days for me to get out there to remember you were sitting out in the woods waiting, so they know I'm not like playing tricks, and but to have an experience where I'm by myself and I have to question, am I insane? And I know I'm not, it's I don't know. It's surreal. It really is. It's surreal.
Where do they go like during the day? I mean, do they go invisible to another world?
I'm not sure, so
I say during the
there's
day.
Been a few times like they could go up the mountain and sleep. There's certain places around here that is pretty protected like where the people are. We're pretty, like my neighbors have like 500 acres or so beside me, and my other neighbors, and then there's the lake between me. So TVA has the rest of the property on the other side of me. They can go about anywhere and lay down and sleep. But they have watchers during the day, and the watchers are pretty close to the house. So I'm going to assume that they sleep around here. I'm going to assume.
Wow.
You think they go invisible when they do it, though?
I don't know. I mean, I've come upon a lot of spots where they would lay down, and they're not much for laying down at night. So, it does make you wonder. And you always have that feeling. You always get those feelings like something's watching you, But like when I'm out there now, like, I don't know, they make themselves pretty well known. But if I have other people with them, other people are like, I feel like something's watching me. I'm like, yeah, it probably is. but I don't try to creep people out. I don't do that to everybody. If everybody doesn't want to talk about Bigfoot, because with my friends, I could say Bigfoot and I can hear my friends' eyes roll in the back of their head. I can hear the sound it makes,
Yeah.
We get that.
I get that, and I just do a podcast, so I don't understand. I don't even care. I make them feel dumb. What's Bigfoot? It's 2023. Of course, there's a Bigfoot.
Yeah, right.
Yes, a couple of the audience members have asked. Deacon asked if you communicated with the cat woman, and I don't. You were saying that I think, didn't you say you hadn't gotten in tune with him yet at that time, or was?
Well, not on a level like this. And of course, when you see new stuff that you don't expect, like I don't think I expected to see a giant cat-like creature out here. I knew the Sasquatches were out here, but I guess in my small little mind, I was like, well, the Sasquatches are out here, so I don't have to worry about other things being out here. Just small-minded, because. But when she showed up the first time, it was the season where the family of Sasquatches here usually go for the mountains, and I think they sleep for like a couple months. I think they just lay low for the really cold parts of the month or the really cold parts of the winter. So it was that time of year where they weren't even out there. And when I first seen her, my first thought was, "Oh my God, where's my Bigfoot?" Like, like I don't know, what is this? Like that was my first thought. Like, yeah, like I felt like, oh, like I don't know what this is, and I feel like if my Bigfoots were there, because I know they protect me, I know they have before, and I know there's a few times that like it's just like they've scared my sister away from me before. When me and my sister were fighting, like she shoved me off like when I was like 7, she shoved me off of like a 50-foot rock bluff, and I fell and hit like every rock on the way down, and I passed out. I was out from like 2:00 in the day till dark, and this was summertime. And like the last thing I remember was like one of the last things I remember for just blacking out completely was seeing them. And in my mind, I was always thinking, well, that must have been a dream because I was like passed out, because I got hit in the head or whatever. But no, pretty sure it was them. They were like, not let my sister come over there and just finish the job. but like, certain things like that. So I really think that they would protect me. And so in my mind, I was like, I don't know. At first, your first thought is always, okay, I don't know what this is. Let's just be calm and just sit still. But the longer I stood there, especially with my dogs running around, I wasn't scared at all. I wasn't even scared a little bit. I was curious. I was like, what is that? Like, what is this? What is that? I just wanted to know what it was. And I would have been totally fine if if I had known what a wampus cat was before I'd seen it, I would have been like, oh, look, a wampus cat. And I would have just been like, okay. And it would have been like, I know it sounds like crazy, but it would have been like almost like nothing. Like, okay, there's a wampus cat. I got to see a wampus cat. That's cool.
Because that could be why they associate with you. They know that you feel that way.
Well, I read the legend on it before. Like, there's the old legends, not just like the whitewash Cherokee things on it. I read up on it. My dad had died the year before that, and it talks about like if you were somebody, especially a woman, and you were having difficulties with your spirit, and you were fighting with your family on your farm, especially if you had farm and land and you had a tribe of people and your tribe was fighting. And me and my mom and sister, my sister didn't speak to me for 5 years. My mom was fighting with me. We were all fighting. My dad was gone. There was like, it was turmoil here. It was just complete chaos. And it says that she comes to you when your life is in chaos. And it makes sense because as far as like you want to detach yourself from stuff like that, my reality is this. Like, Bigfoot is my reality. For me, that is reality. I mean, there's these things out here. There's a lot of things that I've seen that I can't explain, but that's why I'm here. I'm trying to learn. I'm here to figure out what it is. But this is my reality. So it brought me back into reality because it brought me back into like the things that I love. Like I love sitting outside in the woods with Sasquatch. I love being out there with the family. I love staring at the skies because I've seen some crazy things there. I've seen all kinds of orbs out here and just things, I can't explain. But the longer I sit up there and the longer I watch these things, the more I learn. So it got me back into like sitting outside, and I didn't miss a meteor shower that year. We had a lot of different, like, especially like planet conjunctions. We had lunar eclipses, the last few years. I mean, I didn't miss any of them. So I've been out in the woods ever since.
Pretty sure
it
the
got you grounded.
Pleiadians is going on right now, by the way.
Yeah.
It got you grounded.
It did. And we do have a good, and August is the best time for meteor showers through the whole year. Just in general, even if there's not, like, it's the best time of year to see good meteor showers or good meteorites in general. Not even during the showers. You see some pretty good ones, but anyway.
Now, do you think they're connected to we'll call them star people, UFOs, whatever it is that's out there?
I mean, aren't we all connected? So, I mean, they're no more connected than we are. You mean the star seeds? No, maybe. I don't know. It's hard for me to say that because I feel like a star seed. But I think that they may be a race of like creature that its planet was destroyed too. Or maybe we're here destroying it. But if you think that they would have been here, there would have been a lot more of them.
That's true.
Or there could be a billion. I mean, if they could no clip, they could just come in and out like a bus terminal.
No, they started off like the way I think the family explained it to me, it was like that. Like they were like a lost civilization that didn't have anywhere to go, and they just started here with small numbers. But it was hard to stay here and be like the way they were, with the human race always being the way it is. But with the human race, they got, more, what do you want to call it? Like more sophisticated, and they left the woods, right? But the Sasquatches stayed with the woods, so they actually learned how to use the energy that is in the world. So they can use the energy that's in the woods. They've been out there long enough to do it. If we'd have never left the woods, we would have been able to do it too. We've just forgotten how.
I wonder how hard it is. I wonder if it's like whenever you try to make yourself have an out-of-body experience before you go to sleep and you start shaking and that's what wakes you up and pulls you out of it. I wonder if if you get out in the woods and try to have like an OBS or OBE, like if you'll just flip on over and you can start talking to the nature and stuff and you're in the world. You start seeing stuff like you're on an acid trip.
We do. Meditation can cause that. Meditation, just going out and grounding, you can sit there. The best way to do it, the best way to get your energy to a certain level is, of course, ground. You want to be barefoot, but you want to be hugging one of the trees or touching it. Like you can take your shirt off and just lay back on, put your back on the tree. And you know how much energy that we pick up just from being barefoot on the earth. It quadruples that amount of energy when we hug trees. So
you can do some
a naked hippie talking to the Sasquatch.
Do some DMT or ayahuasca, Bobby, and you'll see the world that's out there. It'll open your eyes.
Some DMT will take you off the planet. Like you want to.
I wish I could do that.
Right?
You're still on this planet. You peel the veil back.
Let this podcast kick off, and we'll see about some of that.
There's no way I'm going to Peru for ayahuasca, but I'll do.
You don't have to. You can go to Kentucky. They have doctors in Kentucky, and I actually have them all over the state. I just know one of the best ones is in Kentucky.
I'm not going to shit my pants. So I'll take the synthetic. Thank you.
It doesn't necessarily. You just you know what? You might take some license before you go. You don't want to. But they're prepared for that. They do prepare you for that. You could.
Ayahuasca, that's what it does. There's a chemical in your stomach.
Not every time. There's some people who have taken it who have not shit themselves. I can't mention any names, but not necessarily gonna puke or shit every time. But I definitely puked.
It blocks the stomach acid. Whatever they give you, the ayahuasca will block the stomach acid because we all produce DMT. It's just the stomach acid.
And some of us are lucky enough to produce DMT all the time. Some of us produce it all the time, and I think that helps with certain things.
Every single human produces DMT.
That's right, but most humans only produce it 2 times in their life: when they were first born, when you come into the world, and when you leave the world. But some people, they produce it all the time, not necessarily all the time. People don't necessarily do it all the time, but some people produce it all the time. So, but normal people just produce it twice in their life, and that's again at birth and then when they die. Dimethyl-tryptamine. I know all about it.
So one of the audience members asked, "Do you think that Bigfoot has a lifespan, or are they perennial, or can go to the spiritual realm at will?"
Oh no, I think that they definitely have like a lifespan.
Wonder how old it is, or how old they get.
The spiritual realm and going in and out of dimensions are two different things as well. I've learned that. They're like, you have all different kinds of dimensions. It's just not based on one dimension, but the spirit realm, where you go, where your soul goes, is like the universe. Moving in and out of dimensions to move places isn't necessarily the spirit realm. I mean, it's not, I'm not saying it's not part of a realm, it's just not the spirit realm, as far as I know. It's my opinion.
Okay.
But the some of them, like, like as they grow, like you watch them get from little to big, and the old mother that's here, she's definitely, racking in age up there. I hope she can't hear me. I know she can. Like, I don't call her old, but you know what I mean? Like, you can definitely tell that she's getting up there in the years. So she's not like she's not some sort of creature that's like, gonna live forever. I don't believe she's not like a vampire or nothing. No, she's not immortal. That's the word I was looking for. Immortal.
Gotcha.
But I guess, like if your spirit can leave your body and you believe in reincarnation, then we're all immortal anyway.
It's true. And someone was asking if you ever leave them gifts, and once they wanted to know what they like, and apparently they tried oranges and they won't ever do that again. I'm not sure.
Peel the oranges first. Have you ever bitten into an orange? But the orange peel tastes awful, don't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Roger. He left them oranges and they started pushing trees down around him.
Yeah, peel the orange first.
Yeah, that's a crazy story.
I mean, you have to. Yeah, I did the same thing. Like, mine don't like when you bite into an orange, it immediately draws your mouth up. Same thing with like potatoes and starches. They don't like potatoes and stuff. Not a big fan of potatoes. Carrots, not a big fan of carrots either. I guess I could just get carrots anywhere. There's a lot of wild carrots out here. So, but like I leave them apples all the time. I leave them pastries. I leave them cookies. I leave them all kinds of stuff. Eggs, farm fresh eggs, not store bought eggs. They won't eat those store bought eggs. Let's see. I like, as far as like gifts, as far as like trinkets and toys. Now I leave them like mirrors and little like bells. I left a couple whistles one time, but they broke them. They didn't like. I don't know if they use them or not. I never heard them use them, but they broke them, so I'm not sure they were a fan. What else? Little jingle bells, things like that. Like I said, the little cat balls, like that light up and stuff. They're a fan of them, and it's funny too, because when they're walking in the woods and they got them lit up, they'll bounce. They'll be like walking through the woods with them bouncing. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I interviewed one guy, and he said that now this, I think, was in Ohio, like chocolate. I was kind of surprised. They like chocolate. But then again, who doesn't like chocolate? So
I'd be more shocked if they didn't.
Yeah. I know peanut butter is always
peanut butter is one of their favorite things, but it's so expensive. And you don't like, and I try not to give them peanut butter that often, once or twice a year, because I don't want to make it an all the time thing. And so I don't like have a set schedule. I don't go out there like every Tuesday or something like that. I'll go and wait like 10 days. Sometimes I'll wait like 12 days or 15 days, but it's about a 2 week. In between 2 weeks, I'll pick a day and go. And that way they don't, like, it's not a set schedule. They're not expecting it. It keeps it from being like, like them expecting it. You know what I mean? I don't know. Especially in between seasons. I think I give them more stuff. What?
Keep them from getting violent too and expecting it.
Well, yeah, like I wouldn't think, but they would do that to me. But like, you never know. I mean, my sister has chickens, which I don't think nothing as far as any animals going missing here. Like, we haven't had any animals that like went missing or anything. Like, we had we had something attack our goats, but we have a black panther out here, and TWRA says we don't because there are no black panthers out here.
Yep.
And even though we've all seen it, like me and my neighbors, we've all seen it, we can't get a picture of it. It's really hard to get a picture of a black cat running through the dark. So, but there is that. Yeah. I don't have to worry about too much. They love grapes. Grapes are one of their favorite things. Apples. I leave them apples and, bananas, things, just everything. I don't know. Cupcakes. I leave them cupcakes, biscuits. They love my mom's biscuits. Like, I tell her that. She told me. Tomatoes. They love tomatoes. Every time I planted corn, they've got my corn before I did. But it was mostly like the young juveniles that got my corn. I'm not even sure that they don't usually get into my garden like that because I always leave them stuff. But the juveniles, they always get my corn. I don't know what it is. Last 3 times I've grown corn in the last 5 years, the juveniles.
You're making whiskey.
I mean, the first year I grew corn, I was like, I was new. It was my first garden. I didn't know that you were supposed to plant corn like two kernels per hole or whatever. No, I didn't do that. I just did 1 kernel per hole. So the corn grew well. It just didn't grow strong. And you could have just like tipped the corn over, just barely blew it over. But that's why I knew. Mom was like, something got your corn. It had to be raccoons. I was like, Mom, raccoons couldn't climb those stalks. And I was like, come back out here and look. And then I showed her the footprints. There was little bitty footprints all through my corn. I was like, see the stalk? And I just pushed one over and it went right over. I was like, see, nothing could have climbed the stalk, Mom. I was like, whatever it was standing here eating my corn. She's like, you're right. She was like, you don't think the neighbors would come? I was like, Mom, the neighbors have a bigger garden than I do. Like, why would they take my corn? She's not even well grew. She just doesn't want to believe that they're out there. She knows they're out there. She just doesn't want to believe they're that close to the house. It scares her. Like, I don't know why. Like, if they wanted to get us, they would have. They could have. And they still might. I don't know. I can't guarantee anything. Wow.
I was waiting to see if Bobby or
I had another tab. I was looking at something. I was researching something else on another tab. Sorry. I'm usually not that quiet.
Like kids over playing Pop It or something. Like I know what you're doing.
Got a smart ass comment loaded. Just say when. Man, I can fire something out there.
Yeah. I'm basically just listening for similarities.
I bet they would love my potato soup or some stew. I get them to eat some potatoes.
Oh, wow. That sounds delicious. Leave me a bowl too. That's wondering what's with you.
Have them some bitches up on the porch knocking on the screen door.
I was going to say something like that. My friend Wild Trees, from the biologist co-host, he was talking about how getting them addicted to a certain kind of food and then take it away and make them like exchange it for exposure, like a picture for some Taco Bell. Get them addicted to Pizza Hut.
I couldn't even do that. I live like an hour away from any Taco Bell. Could you imagine?
DoorDash.
I'm not running like an hour away. DoorDash. Okay.
Not where she is. I don't believe.
What's the DoorDash? What is that?
Get them addicted to a flapjack cabin there in Pigeon Forge.
Oh my God. I went to Pigeon Forge over the weekend. I forgot what that mess that place is.
Did you go to Buc-ee's?
I did not go to Buc-ee's. I found out that Buc-ee's up there doesn't have Mountain Dew. And that is why would I stop? Why would I stop?
They took it away about 4 or 5 months ago. They used to have it.
Well, they might have every flavor of beef jerky in the world, but they don't have Mountain Dew, so there's nothing to wash the beef jerky down with, so there's no point. Get together, Buc-ee's.
I used to be a Mountain Dew-aholic. I had to stop.
Yeah.
They do have Squirt, though.
Squirt is delicious.
They do have Squirt. That's what I got last time I went. I went to Buc-ee's and I hit Jack Daniels.
Well, I'm not be able to get by with some beef jerky and a Squirt.
That's what I'm talking about. Dictionary. Beef jerky and Squirt.
Shout out to my buddy Smithson. Drinking a little Jaeger. Shout out Smitty.
Deacon asked if you think that they hunt small animals too.
I would assume so. I mean, they're not there's been like a decrease in certain things in the population around here, especially with berries and bees, and like there's not as many like fruit trees as there used to be. So, I know I'm pretty sure that they eat meat. So I would say
They
yes,
keep their own
because they
history?
eat a lot of stuff out of the creek too. They eat crawdads. I know that.
Well, I bet they love those.
Yeah.
Do they know their own history? Like species
I
wise?
think they do. I really do. I think that's what it was, that they, or as far as that they know that they like I said, that they come here from their own planet in small numbers and have just been kind of like I said, with the human race the way it is, they've had to hide in the shadows because you can't get along with the human race. The human race can't even get along with the human race. So it's been
like one representative, like one Bigfoot, and be like, look, I'm the Bigfoot delegation.
We couldn't. Then who are we going to send? Because we couldn't stop fighting long enough to pick somebody for us.
I mean, just they hang out like they have Bigfoot, like he's like the answers all the questions to the scientists, and
that's what we're doing, Bobby. That's why we're out here making these podcasts, man.
Why can't they just give us one? They can sacrifice one Bigfoot.
That sounds like a TV series.
Don't say sacrifice.
Not sacrifice, but like one would be like out in the world. He's like the Bigfoot.
They already can hear you. They heard you use the word sacrifice. It's like, oh no, he's talking about sacrifice. No.
Bigfoot know me. They know I'm not. They know I'm a no-kill guy. They know Bobby Dizzle. Bigfoot knows.
Send him to law school and let one become a lawyer and then make a senator out of him. And that sounds like a TV series, to be honest with you.
I mean,
like Roger from
the way the law goes, I mean, you would have to pass the laws to protect them before you even prove that they exist. I mean, that's already going on now, isn't it?
How do you know one haven't shaved down and he's already like working at a college or something?
Yeah.
Hey, look at me, I'm a human. Ooh.
Rubbing it under their noses, going, they don't even suspect.
Look at Josh Heupel. He kind of looks like a shaved Bigfoot.
They're giving away your secrets. Well, they have to, like, they always said that they collected the DNA, and part of it is, human women DNA, right? Female human DNA. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it makes sense if you shave yourself down and like, listen, you got to bring a woman back. You got to send one Bigfoot out to bring a woman back.
Maybe it's like Rumspringer.
Yeah,
they're banned.
Right.
Their hair back.
Being human's not that bad though. I mean, we got football, we got Chick-fil-A. I mean, what are they getting? Old peanut butter and chickens. Like,
yeah, but you think that's just gifts that they leave. But that's just like being at a festival and somebody giving you a free corn dog. You're gonna take the corn dog, you're gonna enjoy it, but you're still gonna go over and buy a cheeseburger.
That's debatable.
I mean, if I'm the more intelligent species on the planet, I'm gonna go do something else besides hang out in the woods. Like, just give us one.
Why?
Maybe they got beasts. Like it's like
you're not interdimensional, right? Is awesome. It's full of mushrooms and all kinds of cool stuff.
I know, but they could give us like one Bigfoot that we could see and like hang out with.
They got
$25 right now for a Bigfoot.
On their own planet or their own dimension. And they're like, these crazy humans are giving me oranges. Like, what kind of shit is this?
They keep bringing them back. Like, what is this crap? Like the Seinfeld episode with the Japanese people.
Yeah,
they're giving me mini oranges again with the oranges.
They're just being nice. Like, okay, human, I'll take it, even though I got piles and piles back at home.
Again with the oranges.
Yeah.
Bigfoot's allergic to peanut butter one time when it starts a war.
Oh God, we're thinking all the things that they can get us, they bring us the stuff we have out here. Come on. So
the first question you can ask that Sasquatch in a suit, like, do you have peanut allergies?
Yeah.
Are you allergic to peanut butter?
Sasquatch drives a Subaru and has peanut allergies. Has a man.
I want to be able to look at Sasquatch in the eye the next time I go in the woods.
Yeah.
That's my
first question. They have human faces or monkey faces?
A little bit of both. It's hard to like. I mean, it's kind of an in between. It's really hard to describe.
I hate how the big gorillas.
Look different.
Yeah.
What?
I hate how a lot of people depict them as just a silverback that's standing straight up. Like, they don't look like that.
No. And what's really funny is like the big male, like in the face, he kind of like looks like Harry from Harry and the Hendersons, but not goofy. He doesn't look goofy like that. He's a completely different color. But a lot of his like shape, like his actual shape, is just like that. His shoulders and everything like are just like that. He's a darker red color, but his faces are darker colors, so it looks different. And his eyes are dark, but like his facial shape and his body shape are very similar to Harry from Harry and Henderson. And it's really hard to tell people that because they're like, oh yeah, that sounds believable, plausible. But yeah, sure, Sonya. It doesn't sound like something. It's hard to just describe things.
Yeah, I mean, that's a baseline. That's a baseline for what he looks like. I mean, what do you think about the Patty film? Is that real? You think it looks real?
Oh, to me, that was 100% real because when they slowed that image down and her boobs swung around her body, I felt that. You understand? I felt that. I know how that felt. I feel like that was real. Nobody would just fake doing that. Nobody, especially back then.
Yeah, especially two dudes.
Nobody would have thought to put boobs on it and the hairy
in the middle of the woods.
Like for real, like, and there's like you wouldn't. There's just no way. And that facial shape that they have. They're like those people that have that disease where they have hair that grows all over their body. A lot of them look similar to that, just that very human-like shape face with the hair on it. There's a couple of them that look different that are out here, and I don't know if they're from different like clans because I know sometimes they said that the females will go off, that they'll send different members of the family off to mate, which I would say that they have because we've had different ones come up. We've had new ones come up in the last several years, like new girls, and I guess they're just a part of the family now. I don't know, but they have babies. They have one new baby this year, and about 5 years ago they had like 3 new babies. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that.
I know the one in Virginia that I saw. It looked more dark, like black color in the face, and had a different shape, almost eyes. And then the one that I saw here in Georgia, it had more of, I don't want to call it monkey-ish, but it was different than the other one. It wasn't as human-esque, but it was very clay colored. So I wondered, well, of course, Georgia clay, everybody kids about, but I wonder if maybe the drinking of the water had anything to do with that. But there was definitely a difference in it in the two that I saw from.
Well, you're going to want to be able to camouflage yourself in your own surroundings. So you're going to want whatever color you're going to want to be. It's like the color of whatever is around you. So that would make sense.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, she apparently just woke up and she's in the chat. So I
think it's some kind of descendant of an orangutan anyway. So I think it would already be that color.
I mean, the ones out here are all different colors. Like the big male, he's really dark and red. Like he's like a dark red. But there's one of the watchers during the day. She's like a lighter color red. She's like an auburn color. And she has that more like human-like face than he does. But she's been a watcher out here. Since I can remember. And I don't know. I always for her, like I always feel closer to her than any of them because I spend more time with her than I think I do any of them during the day because she sits right out by the house. Like I've been on the phone with people in video chat. Like I was on the phone one time with Chris Grizzly and like I had the phone turned around and he was watching out the window and I was like, do you see that? And I was talking about the storm that was coming in. And I was like, look at the storm. And he was like, there's something out there. And I was like, oh yeah. I was like, yeah, she came out earlier. And I was like, did you see the lightning though? And he was like, did you see the Bigfoot? And I didn't realize he had never seen a Bigfoot. And now he just got like a total like view of one on video chat. And I was like, yeah. I was like, I told you they sit out there. Like they're out there all the time. They're out there like all the time. So it wasn't something.
And it's kind of shocking to have a podcast and be a expert on it and having never seen one. But yeah. So, but yeah.
Technically, I've never seen one either, Glenn. I've only heard.
Well, you did have the experience.
Shit, Glenn.
Yeah. Well, you can see the feet, like the foot.
Why are you being this way?
I said foot tracks.
Foot tracks. You done toked and muddled too much.
Yeah, exactly. I seen the footprints the next morning, but that night, we were so far out in the woods, like we walked for a good 3 hours. So I mean, what else is going to be out there with us? Plus, the dog was freaking out so bad. You know, if it was a deer or something, he's not going to go into defense
Yeah,
mode.
the dog will act like it just doesn't want to be there. The dog's like, when they're scared like that, they'll act like they do not want to be there. Like, let's go back, bro. Let's go back. Like, let's not be here. They
This
know,
dog
but
was more of a holy shit, guys. Do y'all hear that too?
yeah,
Don't leave the cave. Don't leave the cave. Don't leave the cave. That's what he kept marking. Don't leave the cave. Y'all hear that shit, right?
They mess with you when you're in the woods like that. They know that they know when you're listening like that. So that's why they do that walk with you thing. They'll walk with you just to mess with you. They'll walk with you just to.
I really think we were in his home. Like, we were in his bed. This is where he stayed. But I guess if they're nocturnal, he's not going to use it at night, right? Are they nocturnal?
Well, do you? Mostly. I think they're out most of the time at night just to avoid people because it's easier. I don't necessarily think that they want to be nocturnal.
Well, he was out fishing.
It's just easier to move around at night.
They're fishing. We're in his sleeping hole.
Right. And well, you know, anytime, like, I'm like that. I'm kind of like one of those people. If you came onto my property and you didn't know that I was watching you, I would watch you just to see what you were going to do. I would. And that's just me. So you can imagine what they would do. They would just doing the same thing. Okay, so I felt like there was another lady. Her and her husband have a family of Sasquatches on their property, and she accidentally gave them rum cake instead of like regular cake one time, and she got one of the juveniles drunk, and he went ballistic. And I'm too like freaked out to think that they would just, you know. Man. They call it spirits for a reason. Like, even people, you know, it's not good for it's like yourself to drink.
It's like having a bunch of drunk midgets just can't control themselves.
Well, there's something about the brain. Like, it's easier for them to. I can't remember what it's called, but if your mind is intoxicated, it's clouded. It's different than that.
Exactly. So the spirit part of that's why they call it spirits, because it can make you, you know, in and out, and it makes you not clear headed. And I can imagine how mad they would be at me for not being able to get back to their regular, you know, their normal.
And then the next day, the headache. Oh.
I just picture a Sasquatch holding a beer.
And then addicted, he gets addicted.
How about evil magic mushrooms, maybe? Have I ever let them other stuff? Yes.
Watching college football with a Bigfoot and beer?
I mean, you know. They eat hemp. They like it. They like it a lot.
I bet.
That's how you're going to lure him in, Bobby. Like, here's some hot wings, buddy. I got the TV, it's the big screen.
Yeah, you eat the hot wings. You hold the cup of ranch out so they come to you, because you know they're going to want to get that.
I've already decided that if I get that magical genie wish that I know Bigfoot exists but can't tell anyone, I'm taking it. I'm taking that option. And so just know, Bigfoot, that I'm willing to keep your secret. If you'll tell me.
Well, if you're ever in Tennessee, you just come see me. We can make that wish happen. You don't have to like.
I'm in Tennessee a lot. I will take you up on that bigger than shit.
You're
in the part of Tennessee I'm at all the time.
All right.
Look at me. Look how old I am. You think I don't got a picture porch?
I saw the Bucky's hat. I don't even say nothing. Go back to about the Mountain Dew.
This is from Alabama Bucky's though.
He is a Bucky's addict.
Well, they opened up the new one up here. It looks overstimulating and like.
We went by there 3 weeks ago, the weekend before it opened, and I'm like, I would give my kingdom for that Bucky's to be open right now. We had to stop at a goddamn Wiggle Mart, the Wiggles.
Don't. That's blasphemy.
They went downhill, and you know they went downhill. You know they went downhill.
Yes, because their pastries. Their pizza's all right, because it's about the only thing I would eat from there. They used to have good
food there.
Good donuts. Yeah, they used to have good donuts and like corn dogs and everything, and they were good. And they're not
there for breakfast. Nothing now. It's like lunchrooms. It's like a hospital food.
Yeah, sandwiches there. Might as well eat the sushi. Just to end it all.
The Weigel sushi. Here's Brenda.
Hey, there's Brenda. You're supposed to be resting.
Hey, you know what? I would be. Hang on, let me turn my phone off. I would be if you would check your chat.
I'm reading the chat. You should be
I'm so
resting.
YouTube chat.
Yeah, I can see it right here.
Crackhead.
Well,
Hey,
you're
we used
supposed
to
to be
say it-
resting.
We used to say in Farragut all the time, and we go to the Weigels there.
Yeah.
And
I'm
it's just not
sorry.
the same.
The Farragut Weigels? It sounds awful.
Turkey
It sounds
Yeah.
completely awful. Why don't you just go the one on Western Avenue and just like, yeah.
Oh. No, the Coreyton one is not bad, and they've got a pretty good kitchen in it. They just remodeled it here recently.
My best
so.
friend works at the one at the four-way there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's right around in the neighborhood for me. And every time I come to town, I've got to get an orange Mountain Dew and a corn dog. So, and Tennessee is the only place you can get the orange Mountain Dews. So,
It's like a big orange.
Sun drop, by God.
Oh,
it's
sun
not a
drop.
sun drop.
No, we have the one machine out here at my nearest food city, which is like 45 minutes away. But like they have a machine that has squirt and sun drop in the same machine for 50 cents. It's
Bucky's got
heaven.
the squirt now.
Without
What
Mountain
town in
Dew.
Tennessee do you live in? Or place?
Granger County.
Which one?
Granger County.
Granger. Okay.
I'm an hour northeast of Knoxville. You know Rutledge Pike?
I don't know.
No, okay. Okay, well.
That's where I first started on the ambulance. It was in Granger County. So it was fun. Yeah.
It's not saying I couldn't find it. I may have been on it. I just didn't know it.
We pretty much know out here. That's probably why they let you start out here. If anything happened to you, they probably prayer don't fix it.
Hey, I'm not sure who I saved, but it was the mayor of Washburn's son-in-law or something. I don't know, and they all give me a parade. And I guess I don't know. Whatever it was, I saved some bigwig's son-in-law from a tobacco farm. He was in cardiac arrest, and they all but put on a parade for me. I was like, no, I don't want this. So
you take that pie stepper and you enjoy it.
Well, they made me transfer to the Washburn station, and that's where I was for the rest of my time there in the county. And I loved it, except for the fact their schedule was different than everybody else's. I used to go behind the station and used to go fishing there all the time on duty, so it was great.
Is that where the haunted fishing place was?
No.
Where was the haunted fishing place?
That was Virginia.
How far are you from Rutledge?
On the other side.
Yeah, that's the other side of the mountain.
County is part of Rutledge.
Yeah, that's the other side of the mountain.
How far is Sonya from Rutledge?
It's the other side of the mountain. Literally. So,
I'm in Warspring. I don't just tell people my location, so I have to get out the guns or whatever. But it's okay if they want to try.
I'm just saying how far. Don't tell me to come to Tennessee and see Bigfoot, because I'll go to Tennessee and see Bigfoot.
Well, I'll take you up there, Bobby.
I'll do it. I have a
We're all
Toyota
going to go to
Tundra.
Sonia's house. We're all going to park big trucks and motorhomes out on Sonia's property and have a barbecue. And
we already have like three. We have like three or two buses. We have a bunch of stuff like that. We have a bunch of tiny homes already set up here. People come and go. From what? Huntsville?
Yeah, I got a standing invitation to Huntsville as well.
I do not know.
And Red Bull and Springs.
I would look it up, but I'm on my phone.
Yeah, it's not far. It's like a perpendicular to Knoxville from you.
Yeah, perpendicular. That's a fun word.
It's off I-75.
Yeah.
Oh, that's like you're going towards Kentucky. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
how's your little possum buddy doing, Sonya?
Do you want to see it?
Yes.
Yeah, I've heard about this. You're gonna have to tell the story of this.
Yes. I want to see it. Oh.
Blue moon of Kentucky, keep on shining.
Speaking of blue, Bobby, I still have not gotten the blueberry moon pie.
Oh my goodness! Look at him.
Oh wait, hold on. I gotta.
Possum? That's a possum.
That is a possum. Yep.
Oh.
It's a little tiny feller.
Gonna be one of the best pets we ever had. Huh?
Blossom the possum. I think I'll name her Blossom.
Blossom the possum.
Awesome.
That's a good idea.
How are you going to house train a possum?
They train themselves. They'll use a litter box like a cat.
But I mean, not naturally.
Yeah, man, that's what they do.
Animals shit in the corner. They're not dumb like humans. They're just whatever.
Yeah, they're actually pretty smart. It'll learn how to use the litter box faster, Glenn, than you learned how to use the potty.
It already goes in the corner of the box. It really does. It already goes in the corner of the box and everything. So it's already a perimeter shitter. I've already halfway there.
Yeah.
Maybe I should have come and got them raccoons out of your mom's attic, you know?
Yeah. I wished you had. One of them didn't make it, so.
Yeah. Well, I could sell that one too. I know some people.
Yeah, it was funny when they were remodeling the house at mom's. I was like, you're probably going to find a petrified one in the bathroom wall. So
sorry, Mom.
Raccoon.
Yeah. I don't know if you heard the story, but we had. Oh, I wasn't interested. I really just wanted them, and I gave them. I think you know who as far as the state was concerned, they were exterminated, but they went to a friend of mine's who rehabbed the one that we got, or the two that we got out. So, but
That's good.
oh yeah, because that was one of the things I was like, hey, the state wants some, terminated, but I was like, no, there's no reason for that. It's just doing what it normally does. So,
Yeah, I mean it happens. Like possum there, its mother got hit by a car, and two of the babies didn't make it. So, but luckily for her, I stop when I see possums, like especially if they have babies. I always stop. Yeah.
So have you been raising it on a bottle or?
But no, because possums don't actually suckle. Cool fact. Yeah, they're marsupials. So like kangaroos, they have like a big long nipples that just like lay in the baby's throat, and it just kind of trickles in the milk. So, but this one was luckily just big enough out of the pouch where I've just been feeding it. I've been feeding it like applesauce and fruit smoothies and grapes and just little soft stuff. If I have to chew it first, I will. Mommy possum stuff. I keep her in my bra most of the day. She stays warm there. She's comfy. She comes in and out too. She's comfy.
I was gonna. How long have you had the little possum?
About like 10 days now. So
okay.
So far so good. Yeah, she's doing good.
Good.
Just
good.
a little bit per week,
Yeah, I was trying to think at my uncle's vet clinic. I don't remember any possums. I remember we had plenty of raccoons and skunks. But I don't remember any possums. But
skunks are cute too. They're like little bitty cats too. They're so sweet. Like if they're used to you, they're just like a cat. You can almost walk. Like most of the time, if the skunk's not scared of you, out in the woods, you can about pet them. They'll come up to you. You gotta be really careful. Don't like move too quick, but they'll come up to you like a cat will. It's weird.
Oh yeah.
People just freak out because they get a skunk near them and they start running, and that freaks the skunk out. The skunk will spray you because of it. I've had lots of stuff come right up to me and just be like, "Okay, don't move." Okay, and then I'm totally fine.
Glenn,
I'm like,
yes.
Sorry, Glenn, Bobby, Todd. I just wanted to pop in to see Sonya because I miss her.
I'm glad you did.
I did.
Hope you feel better soon.
And you're gonna come back again because I can't stay on here long. I promised I would be resting today.
Yeah, I'll definitely come and do another show with you guys. I've been actually keeping myself busy, and I guess I didn't realize with like when I was doing the other podcast, like how much you don't get to spend time in the woods because your best time spending time in the woods, you're sitting inside.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so it was a good thing. I needed it. I needed to get back out in the woods anyway. So
Good.
I've had some really good court experiences since then in the last couple of months. It's been great. Yeah.
Well, you're always welcome here. So.
And I am gonna shoot out, and I promise.
Yes, go rest. You've had a
Lamb,
long
shut up, or
day.
I'm gonna drag you out into the woods.
Oh, whatever. Whatever. I'll gladly go out in the woods. Go get some rest. Go tell Jack to medicate you and put you back to bed. So
Right.
I'll go to the woods. Heartbeat.
Wow, I'm on a different screen. Let's see. How do I get out of this? Oh, wait, I just go up here to the X.
It's like a time. It's like a time.
No,
share.
do not go up to the X. Here, I'll put you backstage. So.
No, I'm not talking about going backstage. I'm just talking about getting out, logging off, turning it off. I just go up to the X.
It's just an illusion.
Okay, just don't kill the whole podcast. So
I couldn't.
well, we'll
Let
find
me go
out, I guess. I sense that Brenda may have some medication on board there, so she needs to get some rest.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, she's had a rough day. So, well, I don't want to talk to you all night, but I feel like you could probably tell us all kinds of really cool things, and I learn something every time you're on. And every time I listen to you, I learn something too. So.
It's like it's one of those things like where this stuff happens so much without you asking me questions. It's hard for me to like, because it's been a 36-year event. Really in the last 20 years. I've been really out there.
What's the likelihood of somebody that comes over and camps out sees one?
If
they're not a real piece of crap.
It's yeah, exactly that part. There you go. It's actually a really, really good chance. A very, very good chance, honestly. And especially if you're in the woods and things, if you have good intentions and good things in your heart, yeah, they'll for sure let you see them. They trust me, so.
Well, I really don't think that people understand East Tennessee, at least the part I'm from, that part of the county, the country. I think there's more of a population there than people really realize, because even where Mom's is, I've had experiences just there. And I mean, I think they've been happenstance, but
there's 2 other families that I know of. One of them rest into Copper Ridge area of Texas Valley, Copper Ridge area going towards Halls. There's one there. Near there, near that area. And of course, there's one, going in towards Sevierville on this side of the mountain, So I guess like the Mascot side. So that would be right there on, in between the mountains of Corrington right there. So, and they move around, They got the mountains. They got the good mountains right there to move. So to say that there's not a family in between that family and that family that's there in Halls, yeah, that would be stupid, because there has to be a family there at Log Mountain or Lookout Mountain.
Yeah, House Mountain. Yeah, absolutely.
House Mountain, yeah. So there's if you look at it upon average of where the families are located in my area, there's at least 3, and then that's the one that's here, the one that's like closest to the county surrounding me. You know what I mean? There's at least 3, and so if there's at least 3 in just in like the 4 counties that are around me, or the areas that are around me, that means there's at least 3 more in the next. By average, if that's the way you want to do it.
Lord knows how many's in the Smokies.
Yeah, I would be really curious, because I would say, like I said, with the Dogman being out here too, I would really I know in the next county over is where I saw the Dogman, so I would be really curious as to, because people want to know if they're territorial. I would say so, but I've seen them in similar areas, and of course I don't know if they would be fighting. I'm not out there, that I'm not out there watching for fights or something, but you would never know, I guess. But it doesn't stop them from coming back. You know what I mean? Because there's a single Sasquatch male that comes through February, March. He comes through every year, and he's always alone. He smells different than the other ones do. He's a different color, and he looks different. You know what I mean? He used to be a little bit more aggressive, and he's kind of calmed down in the last few years. But I don't know where he goes. I don't know where he, if he just travels all the time. I don't know where he resides, or what his deal is. But he comes through every year, and that he's there. like I said, he smells different. He smells like burnt coffee and a polecat. Not a skunk, but like a polecat. Because a polecat has like a different smell than a skunk. And I don't know. It's different. Like, so you just don't know.
Well, what is their family unit? It's not typical what we would have.
No, but it's like I said, it would be like your grandmother or your great grandmother running the family, and then you have like your dads and uncles, and that protect the family, and then you have your aunties that sit in the woods and watch everybody all day because that's what aunts do. They're really good at it. So they really do. And, you have the mothers that take care of the babies all day, so that's what they do. They go up, sleep, and take care of the babies, and so it is. It's a similar like family dynamic, but it would be more like if you lived with your whole family all the time. So, American culture doesn't do that. Other countries do. They have the culture where everybody, the whole family lives together.
It's called the village culture. So that's how
right.
humans are supposed to have.
That's the way we're supposed to live, and that's probably what's wrong with us now. But
a lot of Native American culture, we still do that.
Yeah.
We take
Maria was. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Todd.
No, I'm just defending America and Native American.
Well, Maria was asking if the lifespan of a Sasquatch, and I don't know that we really know the answer to that. I mean, have you ever had one that isn't around anymore?
No, so far no. And I mean, I've watched some of them get older. You know what I mean? Like I've seen some of them, like the watcher that's out that hangs out with me. She was just little when I was younger, and I feel like she's definitely up there in years now. She's definitely fully grown, fully matured, or whatever. But like, I don't know. Like some people say I think they're similar to humans, but I would say it would be like for every year that we grow, I would say they go about 2 to 3, years ahead of us. I don't know, but that's just a guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what their maturity rate would be. I mean, I would think it would be similar.
Like, I don't know if they're mature. They could just be immature. I don't know.
Well, true. I mean, plus they don't have the value of time that we put on the value of time. So, I mean, as humans, we put so much value on every moment of the day. So
it's a construct, right? It's just a human-made construct, right?
Yeah, exactly. Bobby, you're blanking out there. Are you?
No, I'm fine. Yes, I'm doing other research here. I'm planning my trip.
You're planning your trip.
Yeah.
Since he brought the trip
closer
up,
to Minnesota.
I want to go back to what he said earlier about, like, if somebody was out there camping, say Bobby was out there camping, and I was out there with him, and I'm good at heart. But if something came out of the woods, like we're sitting around a campfire and something comes out of the woods, my ass is running. Is that going to offend them?
That's racist.
I talked about that to people about like how it must feel to every time a human sees you that they start shaking and stuttering and shitting themselves, and then they try to pull out their phone and they're shaking, and like how that must feel to be like, oh, another one. I think that they are totally affected by that. I believe that.
Well, whose fault is that?
I do
We've been
believe
trying to get them to be friends for generations, and they're the ones hiding from us. The phone works both ways, Sasquatch.
They're only hiding from some of us. There's some of us out there that are just like, I go out in the woods, and just like I'm talking to you guys, I talk to them. I talk to them out loud. And sometimes I get feeling readings back from them, and sometimes I don't. And sometimes we just communicate through rock knocks and clicks and stuff like that. And sometimes it's full blown
Well, they could hear you right now, Bobby. If her phone is loud enough, they can hear you right now.
Well, they sit outside my window. That is not a lie. It's not that's why I said earlier when I was calling the mother old, or older. I didn't call her old. I didn't call her old. In saying that she's older, I know she can hear me, but they know everything about you as soon as you walk into the woods, or as soon as you get close to the woods. As soon as they can make eye contact on you, they know you. They know what's inside you. They know your aura. They know what's going on up here. They know. And I mean, that's what makes them. That. It makes them more. That's why they're so good at hiding. That's why.
Have you ever had one come in?
What do you mean? Yeah,
in your house. In your house?
No, No, but like back in the day, like when they would mess around, because they, like I said, they didn't mess around too much, but they used to mess around a little more like than they do now, because I think we know each other now, so they don't have to. But when we first started having these like things happen here, you could be like, okay, so my bathroom is right here. It's in the dark part of like the back of the house, like there's no light right there. We would leave the window open in the spring and the summertime and stuff, and you could be sitting down. As soon as you go to start to pee, you sit down and start peeing. You could hear something walk up to the window, and you could hear it breathing, standing there breathing. And that, because I hate windows. I know what's out there. I know there's stuff out there, but windows creep me out, because when you're inside of the house, usually, unless you're sitting in the dark, you can't look out the window and see outside, but stuff can see inside on you. You know what I mean? And that just freaks me out to no end. And then you have these things coming up to the window and breathing when you're trying to pee. It is very nerve-wracking. It's very nerve-wracking.
A couple recordings, a friend of mine, he thought he had some at his house. And so I told him, I said, well, you're not going to catch any on trail cam. Don't listen to what anybody tells you. And I said, go to Walmart and get you one of those good little digital recorders. And I said, just put it outside somewhere. Well, he didn't tell me where he put it. And he messages me late one night and he goes, I'm never sleeping in this house again. I'm like, why? He goes, I put the recorder between the window and the screen. And you can hear this thing crunch, 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 walking up. And then you hear it raking its fingernail across the screen and thumping it.
Yeah.
And I tested this actual theory here at my house, and I live in the suburbs, and I had success. I didn't have that success. And I said, well, okay, so now you know what's out there. He goes, no, that window is by my headboard 9 feet off the ground. And I'm like, okay, well, I moved my bed.
Yeah.
So,
It's your mind, even though that you want to, like, for years, I was just trusting, I guess. For years, I was like, I knew that things were out there, but I would never, I guess, before I was grown, fear protects you. So in your mind, you're like, okay, this thing could grab me and snatch me and drag me into the woods and nobody ever see me again. And you get that in your mind.
mm-hmm.
That could happen. It could happen anywhere you go. It could happen. But the chances of it happening to, like, a Bigfoot snatching you and a human snatching you have a much bigger chance of somebody kidnapping you rather than Bigfoot. So really, I was just putting my fear in the wrong places. Like, and they knew that. They knew I wasn't trusting. They knew I was scared. So, why would they come and scare me even more, knowing that I was scared? So the moment I let down that fear and put that fear down and went out and sat with them and told them that I wasn't scared and that I was sorry for being scared, it was completely different. It was a completely different relationship with them after that.
Well, plus we're kind of like their cable TV. I mean, if you think about it. I mean,
like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, like,
if they could, hey, easy now. if they could mess with us when we're in the woods, I mean, imagine the story of the young ones going back to the parents and they're going, hey, you ain't gonna believe this. I had this guy out there smoking some weed and I screamed one good time outside of his tent. The hairless one shit himself, ran out of the woods and left everything. I mean, come on. That would be like golden story.
He was a big dude and he was moving fast.
Deacon asked if you know if they can levitate. I think I've ever heard that one, but I don't.
I've never seen them levitate. I've seen some weird things in the woods before that were pretty much levitating or flying, but they weren't Sasquatch. I don't know what they were, but I've never seen Sasquatch levitate, so I don't know.
Yeah, they're very adept at trees. I know that for a fact.
Was that because of the 9-foot window? She asked that because of the 9-foot window?
She might have. I would just assume he lived in Forsyth County. He probably had a very large one there, is what I'm guessing.
When you're going, like, here's another thing that would make a Sasquatch look like it's levitating. So when they go into cloak mode, or even when they're traveling when they're moving, and there's cloak mode where they just go invisible, but they're still there. But there's times where they move and they just disappear. They're not there no more. Because even when they're in cloak mode, they still have an aura. Like, their aura is still there. You can still feel the energy off of them. But there's certain times when they go through the woods and they just disappear. So when they go into that cloak mode or that disappearing mode, one or the other, some of them will be gone and some of them will still be there, and it looks distorted, but it also looks like that. I've heard people saying they only saw half of Sasquatch's body. They only saw half of him, and that didn't make no sense because there was Sasquatch, but then half of his body disappeared. But he was moving into that, to that portal or moving into that dimension, and it only catches like parts of it. So you're seeing him move into it.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
and they do have I don't want to call it a hyper speed or whatever, but and I'm sure that it's not just their normal speed. I think they have another speed that they can kick in, like an extra gear or something. I don't know what it is. And when they're in that mode, we've had them run through the camp, and you can smell and know they're there. And there's like a wind, and you see the dust from the ground coming up. But yeah, so there is that. But yeah, I've never seen them levitate. Like the Predator, Maria says, kind of.
They are. When they cloak, it is very similar. Like the aura that puts off around them is very similar like that. People have been able to, catch pictures of them in that cloaking manner, just like that, And I'm a huge Predator fan. He's my favorite alien, hands down. Anybody who's just like, I'm not winning, let's just blow the place up. That's mad
Mitch
respect.
Hedberg
right
used to say, if you know the comedian Mitch Hedberg, he used to say that Bigfoot is just blurry. He thinks Bigfoot is just blurry.
And know what's funny? It feels that way sometimes because of the way they move in the woods. Sometimes, even when you're there with them, you don't get a good you're not just sitting there face to face with them, and they're moving or they're the way your eyes work too. Your eyes only see so much a percentage of what you're seeing. And not only that, it's inverted, right? So your brain has to pick up what it's seeing, then it has to invert it and then show you, so your eyes are doing, and it fills in the rest of it. It only sees so much, but your brain fills in the rest of it of what it doesn't see. And they know that. They use that against us when they're cloaking in the woods or when they're in the woods, when they're moving in the woods. They can go back and forth and use that depth perception problem that we have and that focusing problem that our eyes have and the inversion and all that. They can use all of that against us, so.
Sorry, Bobby. They're doing their best to avoid us, man.
They can just give us like 2 or 3 hours for a CBS special. Let's hang out.
Bobby's booking a hotel room over by the Buc-ee's right now.
Opens up the briefcase. 2 hours, right?
We're in a conference room.
Audio only.
Audio only. If they can get away from us that easily, what's some footage in an interview?
Zoom. Just give us a Zoom.
Give us one Zoom. I know if you listen to Ron Moorhead. No, it's not. But then again, I think they also realize that we have the bang sticks. We have the ways of, killing everything. Well, no, I know you're not, but typically a lot of people, when they go out, and I don't go out in the woods without a firearm, but...
question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Which bang stick?
Well, I mean, I would carry a 357 normally. Is that what you're asking? Okay. Okay. All right. So, but yeah, I mean, I think
they're not going to show themselves much.
But that can also be in their favor. Like if we're nice to them or we all get along, we can use those bang sticks to protect them too.
I don't think they need any protection from the stories I've heard. So
I don't believe in gun ownership. I'm a pacifist.
What?
Yeah, I don't own
what?
guns.
I'm a finger banger, whatever.
Well, that was a lull. Okay, well, we'll have to have this discussion.
I'm a full-on pacifist.
Oh, I have no problem with owning a firearm. I think it's how you can you use the firearm, but that could be a whole separate.
I believe in love. I want to be the flower in the gun. Oh
my God. I cannot believe. I'm so sorry, Sonya. I'm so sorry, Sonya. That's it. I think your invitation just got revoked.
This conversation is done.
You wouldn't want to bring a gun with you anyway because they're going to wonder why that you needed the gun in the first place.
I'm bringing a walking stick in my Bible.
Not necessarily to your place, but when I go out in the woods, no.
The Bible might offend me, though.
Depends on how far I have to travel. If I got a ways to go to your house, I'm going to take my pistol, but it's not for what I'm doing at your house.
Yeah, whenever we
I'm going to get gas and whatnot. No telling what I'm going to find in the road.
We go through East Knoxville at some point.
Well, I carry a gun on me. I carry a gun in the woods, but they know I'm not carrying it for them. We've had a lot of bear, and I carry it for the people.
Right.
They see me
Exactly. Exactly.
It's
And it's intent too. It's intent when you go out there. You know. But as I was saying, I think that they see that we've destroyed things, and plus, I've heard stories that we'll say the Indians used to have agreements and things with them. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but I mean, just from what I've read, in fact, I'm reading a book about actually the Himalayan people believe that they're part of a God structure. So I'm kind of reading up on that right now, but I think they realize that they just want no part of us until we get our shit together. I mean,
right. And that's why now it's such an important time to start easing people into the idea and teaching them, because we're in the energy shift. We're in the age of wisdom. Mm-hmm. We're in the age of Aquarius. We are here to seek the truth. We want to know the truth. We want to not be lied to anymore. And that goes, you can't run one aspect of it into without running all of it. If they're lying just about little old Bigfoot, what else are they lying about? Everything,
Yeah.
Everything.
Very true.
That'll worry you to death. You get to thinking down that rabbit hole.
Well, let me ask you this. So do you believe the government knows about them?
Oh, yeah. 100%. 100%. There's no doubt in my mind.
I do too.
You said some acronym earlier, like the land next to you, or this certain acronym said that they didn't exist. Was that a government agency?
TWRA.
Is that a government agency?
Of course.
Game wardens.
So they have that land connected there, right? So they probably know that's the reason they have that land.
There's a lot of people that believe that too.
Well, I mean, they won't. A lot of the times when, so it's like, if you get reports of Sasquatch, they won't even call it that up here. There's been, people, they'll say they didn't know what it was, or it was a man, or it was,
oh, that's Tim.
Could have been an animal. Look like a man, and just they'll never call it what it is. And I guess, if you were protecting a giant, industry like the wood industry, for example, that would be something that you wouldn't want anybody to find out, that you were tearing down the homes of these giant, creatures that live there.
Oh man. Yeah. Hippies would be strapping themselves to skidders left and right.
Well, I mean, then you got to think about. Then if you got to think about if we had a responsible government, not that we do, but if we had one, then they would have to have a population control. We'd have to do a census. We'd have to know if they have their shots, if they've had their education. Is there enough of them to vote?
Well, put a tag in their
whatever. They're not going to get into the vote. The bears, they don't run into the jungle to let the gorillas vote.
I'm saying, but if it was an intelligent life that coexisted with us, and our government actually had to come out and do it, they'd have to go all in, and they're not going to do that. Even if they, even I don't even think they would, even if it came out that they really are, out.
They already did, and that's why they're in hiding and won't come out. They were like, "Fuck the government."
I do believe they probably have some beliefs about screw the government, because I think that they probably were a part of. Well, I mean, Teddy Roosevelt shot one, if you read historically. So he was a president. So
a lot of his stuff was really cool. Like, he also believed in aliens, and he was a firm believer in a lot of things. He talked about how that
believed in quotations when you're the president.
Yeah. And I used to, we were talking about before Bobby sidelined us with his Second Amendment opinion there. I used to think that we needed to bring one out for science. And then I got to interviewing and talking to a scientist one time, and he says, no, that's the absolute wrong thing to do. He said, because let's say we'll just use the word harvest a young male one. Well, then science is going to be, well, that's great. We want an old one to see how they age. Well, we want a female one to see how they reproduce. Oh, well, we want one that's with child so that we see how it's in utero. And he said, it'll never stop. He said, so you don't want that because they're going to experiment.
The government doesn't say want. They just go and take.
Yeah. They already have, though. You know what I mean? They just don't want. I don't know. I don't know if it's like, I don't know. I think the way people handle stuff, like, I mean, they couldn't even handle running out of toilet paper during COVID. So we're really not quick to handle much, I don't believe.
You know, when you were telling your story about the bathroom, I was just picturing that commercial and a big hairy hand coming through with a roll of toilet paper going, here, I'll use this.
Or like a rabbit, dropping a rabbit, you know?
Exactly. There'd be like brown fingerprints on the toilet paper roll. That was the picture I had when you said that. I was like, that would probably scare me worse than just hearing them breathing outside. Just, oh, here, I use this.
Hand them back the wet wipes. Like, I feel you, brother.
Well, yeah, that was the scary part about it, was like the thought of it. Like, that's why I'm scared of windows, because it would stand outside and breathe outside the window. I was always scared that it would just snatch me from the window and drag me outside the window. That was like, you know.
Well, I will tell you.
I feel windows being open around me. I still do. It's just,
my uncle's farm,
even though I know it's open.
I believe my uncle probably coexisted with a family. And so there's a lot of reasons I believe that, but my mom was staying up there and she was having some health problems, and she woke up in the middle of the night in the upstairs bedroom and there was a Squatch standing over her. And she goes, I thought it was a nightmare, and I went to scream and it went and put her right to sleep. And I was like, yeah, I would be checking all the doors, all the windows. So now, I mean, it could have been a nightmare, but
at that point, if it was in the house and it did that, I mean, it really wouldn't matter anyway, would it?
Yeah, it's too late.
Right to sleep, it doesn't even need it. Wouldn't even. You think you would have put it to sleep before you woke up?
It's going to matter tomorrow night when I try to go to sleep and I turn the light out.
Yeah,
well, they has sailed.
So the Sandman is Sasquatch. He just snaps
Well, now when I was zapped up in the North Georgia mountains, I pretty much went, "Oh, what was that?" and kind of looked around, and then I was just like, grabbed the pillowcase or the pillow and just went to sleep, back to sleep, like nothing ever happened.
Glenn got
it was the damnedest thing.
Glenn got
I had one looking, like I woke up from a nap in my mom and dad's bed, and I woke up and there was one standing outside the window, and I just pretended I didn't see it. And I laid my head back down and put the blanket over my head, and my mom came in there and was like, "Are you awake?" And I was like, "Nope, nope." I just remember arguing with her, and that's really where that it's that whole fear of windows. There's a couple of different reasons I'm afraid of it. That's one of them.
Making Sasquatch
and
sound like a creepy uncle.
You don't really remember when stuff happens to you when you're small like that, or when you're younger. You have a long time in your brain thinking that was just a dream anyway, or that it was just, it wasn't real, because your parents tell you that it's your imagination, and you think that's what imagination is. You just thinking you're seeing stuff.
Yeah. Well, we're sponges when we're children, so. Maria asked if you think they have magic powers.
It depends on what your definition of magic is, and we all have different powers. As far as telepathy, if you want to think of that as a magic power, they have that. That's considered. I would think that would be considered a magic power.
They can
just be able to
fall asleep.
In the portals like they do. Do what?
They can cloak. They can snap their fingers and put you to sleep. They're
right? Yeah.
Tall as shit, can creep through your house and you never know it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't.
I think you think about stuff while you're sitting here, because I will be sitting here watching TV and just like doing nothing, and I'll get the urge to want to get up and go get eggs and take them to the woods. And I know it's them. I know it's them like wanting eggs. I know it's like I know it's them. It's them like, hey, You got any of those eggs? Like,
Yo, dog.
and I know it's them, and I just, because I'm lazy. Like, I know I'm not just like, I just think I'll just get up and go do stuff today. Like, that's not me. So I know it's not me thinking that.
I'm that asshole that's going to think back like, come get them. They're in the damn fridge.
I'm in the house next to this camera. You can have all the eggs you want.
No, I wouldn't do the camera stuff, man.
It's weird how, like, even when you do have cameras, because we have cameras. We have cameras all over the property. They know exactly, which you hear them all the time. We hear little noises and stuff like that, but like, they know exactly where the camera lies, like where it stops, where you can't see no more. They know where that line is. That's what's so. When you think about them, like, and how would they know that? Like, even putting the camera down, you don't know how far back it goes. None of us walk the perimeter to see how far back the camera goes. How much you can see.
Feel it.
They know to a T.
Well, they can see the light for a fact.
Well, the light from what?
The IR coming off of
yeah,
it.
from the IR, yeah. They can see that. They can see that like a floodlight. That's why I always tell people those things aren't going to work.
Well, that's the thing about people. They were talking about trying to like hide recorders. They can hear any kind of machine that's on. They can hear that as soon as it comes on, like a dog whistle. Yeah. And you would have to think that noise bothers them like that. The frequency, because we're all vibrational creatures, but it must bother them. That's why they don't like it.
Well, either that, or if they're so attuned to their environment, they know it's something new and they're inquisitive. That's a possibility as well. But I do believe, like you, they can't hear them.
They have, most of the time, like if people put recorders out, they'll drain the batteries out of them immediately.
Yep.
So the noise, it has to be the noise bothering them.
Here's some anecdotal evidence. I got an iPod for Christmas one year, and I never saw a deer the rest of that season when I had that iPod with me. Mm-hmm. So I've always pissed me off because I'm like, hell yeah, I can go deer hunting and listen to podcasts.
Wait, whoa, back up. Hold on a minute. Deer season, what did you hunt it with? Carrots?
A Browning X-Bolt 270, Hornadies.
Okay, all right.
And a loophole 3x9x50.
Okay, you just give yourself up. All right. I was about to have a huge Second Amendment.
A Ruger 7mm Magnum.
All right. Hey, that could be illegal.
I talked to the deer killed itself.
Yeah. Man, Bobby's a real man. He went running. He jumped out of the tree on top of it and snapped its neck. So he's a real man.
You probably find out. You want to go in the woods?
He had a slingshot. Lord. Well, Sonya, I love having you on here. Anything else that's happened since we last talked that's kind of unique in the Bigfoot or UFO or ghost world even? Anything?
Not that I can think of at the moment, but I mean, there's like, me and a bunch of my friends saw a pretty good sized UFO at the event that I just went to back last month in Jamestown, Tennessee, in Catoosa, where we were. But months before that, me and my sister were out there in the field. We were in the same property. We were in the field and we saw something, and it looked like a giant skyscraper in the sky, just moving through the sky. I don't know how to describe it, besides it looked like a skyscraper moving through the sky. And then a month later, we had the event, and me and about 14 other people were standing in the field and saw it. And I was like, they were like, yeah, was that what you and your sister saw? And I was like, yeah. That's what we saw, and it looks like a giant skyscraper going through the sky. I don't know. It looked like a space bus. I don't know how else to describe it. It looked like a giant space bus.
Mrs. Frizzle.
Yeah, that's fun. I mean, yeah, we're all kind of crazy anyway. So, yeah, we found out some magic. So I would have got on. Like if they had stopped, I would have got right on that thing. No.
On the magic scoop.
Oh Lord.
Maybe it was that Bigfoot that you said comes and goes. Maybe they were dropping him off. It's his turn to come back to.
That was his Uber.
The Bigfoot Uber. Well, Sonya, you have an open invitation on the show. anytime you want to come on, we have this, and then we have the Saturday nights. I know you've stalked me. I mean, tuned us in, the Misfits. So you're welcome to come on and be on it. You're welcome anytime here. Your family. So I'll take care of you. I'll kick some of these hairy dudes off and have you any day of the week. So
I'd like to have you on my show as well one day. I don't know when, but if you want to.
Yeah. I just saw your friend request come in a minute ago. I'll definitely hit you up.
I just typed in Sonya. It said Glenn, mutual friend. Oh, it's got to be the same person.
Oh, great. Now she's gonna get a million perverts requesting her to be friends.
I already got one tonight.
Yeah, see, and it's Bobby. So,
at least I'm a pacifist.
You know, on Saturday's show.
I'm a pervert, so like I'll be honest.
On Saturday's show, I didn't even friend request your wife, Bobby. Come on. And we were going to have the Mrs. Dizzle and Sportcat hour. So
is this your wife?
No, no. So well, never mind. But we're gonna get together, and I want to see this possum next time I'm up there. So
I love possums.
The only experience I ever had with a possum that I don't want to say I was afraid, but it had gotten caught in a piece of the fence. It was trying to go through, and I was trying to get the fence off of it so it didn't hurt itself. And it let out this screech little thing that made me do a girly scream. So,
I used to learn how to, the steel traps people catch minks and stuff in. Mm-hmm. I used to actually catch a bunch of possums in them growing up.
Yeah, they're hard at like that. They'll just wander in there and set that trap right off.
Oh, look, a piece of bologna. Sardines.
If only you use a gun, Bobby.
You feed them with a stick.
We used to do a thing called possum stomping. You'd be riding four-wheelers.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, you ready riding four-wheelers at night, and you see a possum, you jump off and kind of kick it to death.
Jeez, man.
Wow.
Wonder why Bigfoot don't want to show itself to you.
Nobody else.
Okay, let me just put this in perspective. When you go out in the woods, you'll be the possum now.
If I could have a Bigfoot injury, I would welcome it.
Explain that to your
Maybe they'll heal my sciatica.
Explain that to your job. You see, what has happened was I went out in the woods and this Bigfoot swung out of the tree and drop kicked me.
My job might believe that. It was only a matter of time, you shit talker. You had it coming. Nobody would be sympathetic in the least.
Oh, mercy. Todd, did you have any questions before we cut Sonya loose out of here? Because I know she's probably got a million things to do.
Yeah. I had one earlier, but I think, no filter. As soon as they come in my brain, I say them.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you should. I've never regretted anything I've ever said. I've spent, tons of nights in my mind, though, regretting stuff I didn't say. So
yeah, way more stuff you didn't say.
Way more. I've never, I can't think of one thing I regretted saying to somebody right now. I cannot think of it, but I can think of 1,000 things I regret not saying to a bunch of people. So always thing that comes to mind. There's nothing that can bring me.
I should have said.
That's right. Well, Sonya,
thanks for being here.
Hey, we're glad to have you, and you're welcome anytime on here too. Token Muddle, that's your website. So
yeah, finally did a little prostitution. Put my name
on.
I've got a merch store coming very soon.
I didn't want Harry Marble, so I actually went professional.
Well, the only exciting news I have is I ordered a patch that looks exactly like my logo there, so I'll have that soon for merch. So, and any of the listeners that want, can go to that link up top, speakpipe.com/paranormalguyz with a Z. And you can leave a voice message and a comment, query, smart aleck remark. Tell us about how you think Bobby needs to support the Second Amendment or whatever, and we'll play it on the air. So
confiscate them all.
That's right. We don't.
You bunch of insensitive.
So Bobby's gonna have PETA after me, the BATF, but so
I already had PETA after me. I thought about food and everything. I'll tell you that.
Okay, you had to tell me that one off there, but all right. Well, I'm gonna tuck you backstage, son, if you want to hang around for a few minutes. And I appreciate you coming on. And you guys, I enjoyed having you on here. I appreciate you filling in for Brenda. I hope she gets to feeling better. So
it was good to see her.
It was. Yeah. It was. Even a hi Brenda is better than no Brenda. I was worried about it. Yes, it did. So.
Brenda didn't miss us.
No, she woke up and went, "Where are those people?" So,
like, who are these people?
They're not my friends.
That guy's totally not a cat. Fort Swampus cat.
That should be my new nickname. But yeah, guys, I appreciate you filling in. And anytime y'all want to drop in here, of course, Brenda may get upset and have something to say about it, but you're welcome on here too. So
plenty to go around for everybody.
Absolutely. And new show tomorrow night. Big Brother is a CBS reality TV show, and they're starting their new season off. So I'm doing a podcast just on that. So new series on that. Saturday night is our Misfits. Everybody is a misfit. Feel free to drop in and comment, query.
Oh, that's your music. What in the hell is going on with me?
You got you a Bigfoot.
I got these good headphones, man. I thought somebody was in here.
Got you some synthesizers.
Yeah. Sorry.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to end the show, and I appreciate it. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. We had double-digit listeners tonight for the first time in my little short podcasting career.
I noticed that.
So I'm happy. So, everybody, we will see you next week. Same place, same time, and go to that Bobby Dizzle and tokenmuddle.com.
Later on.
Bye now.
Peace.